Hello, how are you? I sat down to make this video and then realized I had to get up and change my top. Not because I'm making multiple videos today, but because the first video I made in January of recent Booktube favorites, I was wearing the same purple hoodie that I was in that video, and I don't want to look like a schlob that just sits around all day in my flat wearing the same clothes day after day, although that's really what I am. So I changed into another hoodie, into a black hoodie. And I made myself a cup of tea with my Golden Girls mug, and I want to talk through some more recent Booktube favorites. And this obviously isn't a comprehensive list of all the great things on Booktube in the past month. These are just ones that I happen to have watched and really enjoyed, and so want to share with other people, and maybe point out some Booktubers you might not have come across before, and ones that I have consistently really enjoyed their videos, and so yeah, want to highlight these as some top ones. So first off, there is the wonderful Sarah at Hardcover Hearts, because we are not done with 2020 yet. We are still making some of our best and favorite book lists from that year, and Sarah's proving that it's never too late to make lists like this, and even though it's only mid-February, so it's not too late. But anyway, so she's made a two videos talking about her favorite books from last year, and in this first video she segments it into talking about literary fiction, women in translation, non-fiction, memoirs, letters, and essays, some of her favorite books that she's read. And of course, some of these are books that I've read and loved myself, so was so happy to see her talking about like Ducks Newburyport, which was my absolute favorite book of the year when I read it, but also about the book Square Haunting, which is a book that I'm reading right now, which came out last year, and actually it's here on the shelf, and so I can show it. And yeah, this is a book that I don't know why I didn't read this last year, because this is the perfect book for me, all about this square in London where 5 different female writers and thinkers and great like social reformers all lived in the same square at different times, and yeah, so you see I'm not very far into reading it, but yeah, it's wonderful, and I'm really enjoying it so far, and what a beautiful book. But anyway, yes, Sarah's recommendations are so great. She's so wonderfully calming to listen to. Her voice is very calming. She's incredibly intelligent and thoughtful, and just has this wonderful presence and soulful manner about her. So I just love watching and listening to her videos so much. And I realize I don't always comment on these videos that I talk about. I mean to comment more on videos, but then I have this thing where I find that if I start commenting, I have to sort of stop myself, because I write almost like an essay, because there's so many interesting things to say in response to what these booktubers have been talking about. So yeah, I do mean to comment more, and mean to just give my brief reaction rather than a whole discourse. And anyway, next, moving on to Satbo Reads Books, and she made a fun video recently talking about graphic novels, not memoirs, graphic novels that she really enjoys reading, how she felt she was getting close to a book slump. And so to stop herself from falling into this, she went back to graphic novels and realized how much she loves reading graphic novels, because obviously it's a briefer reading experience than reading a full-length novel just has text. And I really enjoy graphic novels too, though I don't read all that many, and so I thought that was very canny of her as a reader to realize that she was potentially getting into this slump, and a sort of method and strategy to get out of it. So hers is a channel that I just found recently when I just read the new novel Open Water, and so after I finished reading this, I went to search for other YouTubers that might have talked about this already, and found her channel. And yeah, so, and I think she's a relatively new booktuber herself, has just been making videos for several months or so, but yeah, has really interesting choices and opinions about books. Then there is a book haul from Matthew Sciarappa, which he just posted very recently, and Matthew is so wonderful. Every time I start watching his videos, I just smile and know it just makes me feel better, like in my soul, even though obviously it's about the books, and he's so articulate and interesting and thoughtful about his books, and he's as passionate about literature as he is about skincare, and it's so like funny and warm and yeah, wonderful to watch his videos. And he's a very dear friend, and I just love watching his videos. And he talks in this video about a very sympathetic problem of hauling too many books, as I often haul way too many books, more than I know I can ever read. And so partly why I make book hauls, and I think why some of us make book hauls, is sort of realizing that these probably won't be books that we will get to reading, not all of them, but it's ones that we want to read, and it's expressing that intention and desire to read books, and hopefully get recommendations from people and steer our reading of what we should read first, if there might include some books that people have read already. And he talks about a lot of books that I've not come across before, and that have really interested me in them. I'm just sort of sitting there with my notepad. I don't actually have a notepad, but on my computer, like making notes of books that I want to read, as well as talking about some books. A few of the books I have actually read, like Tove Ditlevsen's autobiographical trilogy, which is amazing. And so I just really enjoyed watching this book haul video. Then there is Jasmine Reads, who is another great booktuber, always really positive and but also really forthright about what's going on in her personal life as well. And I just really enjoy and appreciate her book recommendations and following her book journey and her thoughtful responses to what she's reading and what she wants to read next. And she points out in this video some backlisted books that she wants to get to, because in addition to new books, obviously there are books from the past, in this case, like a lot of them are from the recent past, that she wants to get to reading. And I have a lot of those books on my shelves as well that I want to get to. And I think it's important to like highlight that we should get back to some of these books that we meant to read, as well as other new books that are just coming out that we want to read. So I really enjoyed that as well. I'm a big book prize fanatic, and one book prize that I really like but don't really actively follow, because it's quite difficult to follow here in the UK, is the Stella Prize. And Jaclyn at 6 Minutes for Me still follows this prize really avidly, and so I absolutely love following her videos and content about this book prize, because it's just one that I don't have a lot of access to or engagement with, but I love hearing about it. And she's so passionate and wonderful talking about these books. And so the Stella Prize is an Australian prize for Australian female writers, and she talks about a number of books that I've not heard of. I don't think I've heard of any of these books before, but she talks about them in such an interesting way that almost every book she's discussing, I'm going through and making my virtual list again, like, yep, want to read that, yep, great family saga, yep, want to read that. And so making a note of all of these, and it's just sort of putting a little flag in my mind that these are books that I should get to, and some I do definitely want to actively seek out and try to get copies of, though like I said, in the UK, not all books published in Australia are published here, and so sometimes it is very difficult to actually get a hold of a copy without spending loads and loads of money. But yeah, it's so great listening to her talk about her selections for books that she's hoping to see on this year's Stella Prize book list. Reesha at For the Love of Classics gives us a good old-fashioned book vlog, and she titles this, "In which I read, buy new books, eat my first pretzel, pot plants, and go for a hike reading vlog." And something I love so much about reading vlogs, I just find them very calming to watch, but also it's a small insight into another part of the world world and someone's personal life that, you know, we don't get access to otherwise, and shows the real daily experience of reading, how we're looking at what we want to read next and deciding what we want to read next and obtaining new books and starting to read it and maybe continuing on with it, or maybe stopping reading it and going on to something else. And she captures that all in this video of books that she's unhauling, that she's giving to a used bookstore, and then new books she's picking up, and then going about in her life in Dubai. And it's so amazing getting this look at Dubai and the dailiness of Dubai, and also making me jealous wanting to go into a bookstore, because currently, because of lockdown, we can't go into physical bookstores in London, but she goes into a physical bookstore in there where people are wearing face coverings, and so you know, keeping distance like that, but yeah, it's still going into a bookstore, and it's just so lovely to see. Jen the Librarian, who's an excellent, very underrated booktuber that I hope a lot more people watch, has posted a video in response to a new TV series, It's a Sin, the Russell T Davies Channel 4 TV series, which I completely binged watched and absorbed, and it's so amazing and heart-wrenching story about a group of friends in the who moved to London and lived together in the lead up and the widespread effects of the AIDS epidemic, and shows it from a British point of view, a very British point of view, which is something that we haven't got much before in either books or films or plays. You know, there's a handful of them about them, but not all that many. A lot of these texts are, you know, sort of more often American focused, and I love how she opens this video giving a very personal story about how her mother was a nurse and worked with AIDS patients and tried to help them at a time when their family and the larger medical community were scoffing them and cutting them off, and so yeah, I found that very moving to listen to that personal story and then hear her own personal recommendations of some AIDS literature that she's found very powerful, including the incredible book How to Survive a Plague. It's a very chunky book, and not any means comprehensive. It's not completely comprehensive, but gives quite a subjective view, but a very moving and a very poignant view of the AIDS epidemic and responses to it. And she also points to some authors, as she does quite often on her channel, like Paul Monet, who's a writer I don't think I've ever seen discussed here on YouTube, though I'm sure there probably has been some, but I just haven't come across them. So yeah, I really enjoy her channel and her recommendations, and yeah, I think she's an excellent booktuber, and so yeah, really appreciated this response to you know, the TV show that she was watching about this subject matter, which isn't often talked about all that much here on YouTube. I was going to limit how many booktube videos I talk about in this video, but there's been so many good ones recently that yeah, I don't want to really leave any out that I just really enjoyed and have found really inspirational as well as comforting. So there's also a new video, or recent video, from Just Juan Reader, who gives his reading update and a de Maurier extravaganza, where he is so excited about the novel Rebecca and about his experience rereading it, and you know, in preparation for writing an academic paper about it, and I love how he does this very booktuber thing of like oh, I'm not going to talk too much about it now, and then he goes into talking about Rebecca, and because he's so excited about it, and yeah, there's so many interesting things to say about it. And me personally just read Rebecca for the first time last year, so can really relate to that experience, and I'm so excited to reread it one day and, you know, have this same experience. And Juan is such a great reader and really enthusiastic and really engaging, and sometimes we get a bit of a song from him, which is always an added bonus. And then finally, I want to talk about Claudia at Spinsters Library on her booktube channel, which is another booktuber I just love following and yeah, really enjoy her videos. And she made a video about books and why I love them. and points out a whole number of books that, all center around books. And of course, as readers, we love reading about other readers and the joy of the reading experience. And she talks about a number of books, some which I've not come across before, and like Northbringer, what's that Jane Austen book? Northbringer Alley? No, Alley? No, what's the name of it? Oh gosh, I don't know. I'm not familiar with Jane Austen at all. So, but yeah, one Jane Austen book where it's a main subject of it is about reading, and which I hadn't realized before. And of course, there's many books that are books about books. But one of my favorites is Michael Cunningham's The Hours, which I think is the most extraordinary tribute to Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, and engages with that text, with the creation of it and the consumption of it and the influence of it in such an amazing way, and is such a brilliant book. But she points to a number of other interesting books. Like I said, many which I haven't read and that I'd like to get to reading sometime. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. So those are some of my favorite Booktube recommendations recently. I'd love to know about some of yours in the comments below, and yeah, just let me know what you've been reading recently and really enjoying. Today is Shrove Tuesday in the UK, and so it is Pancake Day, and which I always find really funny because it seems like it should be an American celebration. That seems like a typical American celebration centered around food, but it's not an American tradition, but in Britain it very much is, and people make pancakes on this day, and so it's a tradition definitely in my household that in the evening we'll have a 3-course meal centered around pancakes, and they're not American style pancakes. They're more like crepes, the thin pancakes. And so to start off, we have a lemon and sugar pancake, the most traditional kind. Then we have a main course pancake, which is often tomato and spinach and Gruyere cheese all combined together to make a savory pancake. And then we finish off with a sweet pancake, which is usually an ice cream combined with some fruit like raspberries or something like that. So I'm really looking forward to having that and having some flipping fun of making pancakes, as well as getting to some more reading today. So thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.